Hi everybody, my name is Brianna. I am the twin sister of Brittany, and it took a lot to consider to record this video, let alone actually record it. About a week ago, I received a dream, and I believe it's from the Lord. I, just like a lot of people, have a hard time remembering my dreams. Sometimes I'll think that I'll feel like they're important to remember, but for the life of me, I just can't. And sometimes I have reoccurring dreams that I do remember. Um, and some dreams I just do remember. They're not really that important, but I remember those dreams. But I've never really remember a dream that is so like detailed, and especially with the times going on. So I know that you guys see that a lot of people receive dreams that they consider prophetic dreams. Um I don't really want to label mine as that, because that's kind of like a big, you know, thing to live up to. That's a big title. But in a way, I do feel like it's prophetic because of the people that I live around, and the dream was spot on with their personalities. It's just like there's really no other way to explain it. So, I've had two dreams about the rapture already. So the first dream, it was kind of all over the place. But to sum it up, the first dream I really don't remember as much as I remember my second dream. So the first dream I remember asking, I was praying and I was just asking Jesus, please just show me, like, will I make the rapture? Will my sister make the rapture? Because I couldn't see myself being here without her, and I couldn't see her being here without me. Like, that would be devastating. So the first dream is just kind of like, I don't know if y'all remember back in the day how Apple would have like certain alerts for Apple phones, and like everybody would get the alert at the same time, like say for an update or something. Well, that's kind of what happened. We were all standing in like this huge quad. It was sunny outside, but it was kind of, well, it was warm, but it was cloudy. I don't know, but it was a good day outside. You could say that. And I just remember me and my sister were standing next to each other, and I'm looking down at my phone, and then I see this alert, and it was basically saying that the rapture is about to start. And so I'm like, Brittany, do you see this? So it was like a message from God. I was like, Brittany, do you see this? And she was like, yeah, I see it. And then so we had pressed, it had a decline or accept button. So I pressed accept, and everybody else around me pressed accept as well. We all pressed it. And so we were getting ready to be raptured. So I guess it was like kind of like letting you know what's going on, and do you want to be raptured or not? I don't know that, so I woke up and I told my sister about that. And then maybe that happened like maybe 3 weeks ago. I don't know. These kind of ran close to each other, but then again, they weren't as close, like days apart. So I'm guessing that the second dream that I had, I remember it was probably like either 2 weeks ago or a week ago. When I received the dream, this second dream, first of all, I didn't even want to believe. I'm getting ready to turn off this fan. I didn't want to believe that I had received something like this, because it's very, very hard to accept the truth. And the truth of the matter is that I just didn't want to dream like this. So after I got my first dream, I was happy. I'm like, okay, Lord, that sounds good. That sounds good. Like, yes, me and my sister gonna be raptured together. But I was interested to see another type of dream. I was like, can you just give me another dream? Like, I want to know again and stuff like that. So I got another dream. Like I said, it had to be about maybe a week and a half ago or a week ago. And so I'm going to sleep. It was a normal day. I think I had prayed before. I always pray before I go to sleep, but I don't know if I specifically prayed for another rapture dream. But I know that consistency is key with God. Show him that you're serious, constantly pray, and, ask and you shall receive if you are serious about it. So I remember going to sleep, and immediately, it was me and my mom. We weren't in the same house. I don't know why my sister didn't come outside, but it was like we were like in complex, like condominium type things, like where it's like connected. Kind of remind you of a New Yorker's home, but it's more like, I don't know, fall time, like where it's decorated pretty with lights. I can't really explain it. I may pop a picture up. But so it was a really nice area, and we don't live in such a great area right now. So that's how I knew we weren't at home. But I love the space we were in the dream. And so I remember I just stepped outside on the front step, and I'm looking up at the sky, and my mom is standing out there with me, and she doesn't notice it until I say, I was like, Mommy. And I call my mom Mommy. I was like, Mommy, look at the sky. And so the sky was like lit up for show. Anything that had any activity in the sky, you could not miss, because the sky was lit up for you to see. It was a dark blue. It was a green. It kind of looked like, I don't know. It was a dark green, and I mean, excuse me, dark blue and green, but it was nighttime. And so the moon, I drew a description of what I seen. I'm not the best drawer, so yeah. So like I said, I'm not the best illustrator, but okay. So the moon looks like this. The first moon that I seen, it looked like this. It looked like a waterfall inside of the moon. It was just like doing that. So it was like it was fading away. And then the next thing that I seen was two faces, and it kind of, okay, my sister said it looks like a bean or something that I drew. But as you can see right here, it was like squiggly at the top of the heads, but at the bottom, it was like, it was rounded, but it was making like a circular shape to be like a moon. That's what it looks like. Then the next thing I noticed, it was moons. So these moons right here were like muted in the background, and these moons right here were like really close in our faces, and they were in windows. And if you guys took cheerleading and I guess other type of sports, I don't know, you'll know what a formational window is. It's like every other, so that everything can be seen. Basically, either if you're in the front or in the back, you can be seen. So that's kind of what I seen, and I was just like, oh my goodness. Like, I knew exactly what it was. And this little boy, he was outside with his parents, and he was like, Jesus is coming. Jesus is coming. This is the rapture. So we're all standing there, and nothing happened. So we're just like, all right, well, we're going to go in our houses, because it was pretty late at night. So we went to bed, and now the scene flipped, and I'm back into my original house, my normal house. And so I'm in my bed, or I'm in my sister's bed with her, and we're asleep. And even though my mom, she's in her own room, I could feel her presence was in the room with us. It's like, I don't know. It's like she was there, but she wasn't. Obviously, she was sleeping in her own bed, but it's like I could see as if she was standing in a room with us. I seen everybody's position. So I seen my sister next to me. I seen me, and I seen my mom, which was crazy, because I'm just like, okay. Next thing I know, I feel me and my sister getting lifted. And when I say we were lifted out of bed, we woke up immediately. Like we both woke up, and we're praising, and we're like reaching out like, oh yes, Jesus, thank you, thank you. And all I'm trying to, at this point, filter my thoughts to just focus on Jesus. But at the same time, I'm thinking about all those who are being left behind and what's about to happen. So the next thing I know, me and my sister both, and like, I wasn't looking at her, she wasn't looking at me. We were focused on Jesus at this time. Okay. We were focused on looking up, getting ready to get out of here. We just dropped. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh, no, like, no, 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 no. So I, jump out of bed. My sister jumps out of bed. We was like, maybe we're too heavy to be, for him to pick us up being in bed. So we're jumping and reaching and jumping and reaching, and nothing happened. And so I'm just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I've been left behind. But then I had this very I said it to myself, but I know it had to be Jesus speaking to me. And he just said like, you're only here to observe. So I believe he meant that for me and my sister, because I don't believe that, you can just semi get raptured, then fall back down. Like, no, if you're going, you're going. So I knew that me and my sister were there to just observe. Unfortunately, my mother, she was not getting raptured. She was still in bed and she didn't know anything about it. So time had went by and the world literally had changed at that moment. So me and my sister and my mom, we were just cooped up in a house. At this point, everybody had took on the mark of the beast. Everybody. So and it had been like within a week's time, it felt like it was moving by really, really fast. Like things were happening really fast going through it. It was like a very like forever. So me, my mom, and my sister, we stayed up in my sister's room and we like sat on the corner near like her window. We were just sitting there. And at this time, nobody had any rights to lock their houses. If you locked your house door, people would think something is in there that's worth of value. So they will break in your house and turn it over unnecessarily. So it's just like, even if you really didn't have anything, locking your house will basically draw attention to yourself. So we had our door unlocked. And like I said, our street is pretty much a ghost town already. But it was a ghost town. I truly feel like me and my mom and my sister were the only people living on the street. So the next thing I know, like, we're sitting up in that room and we're just like distraught. We're still in shock, especially me and my sister, because we didn't even tell our mom that we were getting raptured and that we missed it. I think that would have made her feel even worse, so we didn't even tell her. So the next thing I know, it was a girl who was downstairs. She had came into the house and she was downstairs. She had blonde hair and she was looking for my brother. Now, we hadn't heard from my brother, so I don't know if he got raptured or if he didn't, and he was just distraught, hadn't been answering his phone because, he was scared or, like I said, just depressed about what happened. I don't know. So we hadn't heard from him in like a week. So we didn't know if he was alive, if he was dead, or if he was raptured. So we just didn't know. So it was a girl who was looking for him. And she was like, Brandon, I know this is your house, because he used to live here as well. He grew up, this is the family house. So we all grew up here. So this house that I'm in currently right now, and the house that we were in currently in my dream. So she was just like, Brandon, I know you're here. And it's like, my sister nor my mom could see her. They could just hear her voice, but I could perfectly see her. She had on like, the typical fall outfit with like the cargo jacket, but it's not like camouflage, just like that burnt brown burgundy color, and it's like jeans and the boots, and that's what she was wearing. And then she had blonde hair, and she was just walking downstairs, and I could like literally see through the wood, because our house, our floors obviously are made of wood. It's a wooden house, it's old, so I could literally see through the wood. I'm just watching her, and I was getting ready to say, oh, he's not here. Like, let her know, like, you can leave. But my mom, she was like, shh, do not say anything. Because at this time, people who had the mark, they were turning in those who didn't have the mark. So I didn't even think about that. I guess I wasn't afraid of that. And so I knew she had the mark because I could see on her wrist, it was red. So I was just like, all right. So I didn't say anything. And so the scene flipped. So the next thing I know, it was my aunt and my cousin. They had came over to my house. And so obviously I was happy to see, more familiar faces, but I was sad because I knew that they didn't make the rapture either. So I'm just like, oh, wow. So I came downstairs, my mom, my sister, my cousin, my aunt, they were all sitting in the front room and they were talking. So my aunt usually, she flaps her arm up and she talks. So she flopped her, so I'm coming down the stairs and she flopped her arm up. And so I seen that she had the mark on her arm, and my cousin did as well. So I'm just like, y'all are doomed. Like, there's no hope for y'all. Y'all took on the mark of the beast. And so she was like, what are you talking about, Brianna? What are you talking about, the mark? There is no mark. And I said, yes, it is. Like, look in the Bible. It talks about a mark. And basically this mark, in my dream, you couldn't buy or sell without it. And so my cousin, she was like, well, Brianna, you can't buy or sell without it. So how are you supposed to eat if you don't take the mark? I mean, if you don't get the chip. So I was just like, y'all not going to heaven. Y'all going to hell. Y'all are doomed. There's no hope for y'all. So my mom and my sister, they were just looking at me like, that's bold. But at the same time, I had to let them know that they had basically just ruined their lives. So my auntie, she was like, there's no mark. What are you talking about? And I said, look in the Bible. So I didn't even have time to point out the verse or the book or the chapter. It just flipped over. The dream flipped over, and we were going to a grocery store. And it's a couple that I watch on YouTube. We were going to the grocery store. We had got out the car. So me and my sister were wearing long sleeves so that nobody could see if we had the mark or not. They must have had just distributed the marks because everybody's arms was still red from it. So, oh, I skipped the part. So, I'm sorry. Right before we had went to the mark, before the dream I had changed scenes again. My mom, after I had just told them that they're doomed, they're going to hell. My mom, she was like, well, there's no food in this house and I need you and Brittany to eat. So tomorrow morning I'm going down and getting that mark. And I said, why would you do that? I'd rather starve than have you or me, my sister, anybody take that mark. I've warned you about it. She was just like, yeah, well, there's no way I can sit in a house and have no food or nothing to supply for my family. So I'm just like, you know what? I couldn't even argue before the dream had flipped. The scene had flipped. So we were, like I said, we were at the store, and it was like an isolated area for everybody. So it's like the entire world was condensed to one area for one, like one state or one country, one continent, one country, one state, one city. Everybody was in the same, like everybody was isolated in one area, and it was only one mart that you could go to get food. So we got out the car, and like I said, me and Brittany had our sleeves down so that people couldn't notice. And so I seen a couple, they had got out their cars, and it was like, well, y'all better, they knew that we didn't have the mark, obviously, because they were doing the same thing. And it was like, y'all better stay close. Y'all don't want anybody to find out that y'all don't have that mark. So we go into the store, and we're walking around, and me and my sister, we have our sleeves down. We're being very cautious of who's watching us, of how long we're looking at people so we don't draw attention. We get in line after we got all of our stuff. And so obviously I didn't feel good about it because I didn't think that me and my sister should have been out. But my mom, she thought it would be too risky to leave us at the house by ourselves because obviously, with patrolling and stuff, that anybody could have came around and checked the house. And if they discovered that me and Brittany didn't have the mark, it would have been trouble for us. So we're walking around the store, and then we get in line when we got all of our things. And there's this guy, he's sweeping the aisle. And I know this guy because he works at my college. He's like the janitor for the lunchroom. And so he's just like, y'all, we took on this mark. We're doomed. Well, he didn't say doomed. He said, we're damned. We're damned. We're going to hell. We're going to hell. Like, there's no hope for us. There's no way we can ever get into heaven now. God will never accept us into heaven. And he was like, you know what you can do in heaven? You can you could throw snow at angels. And I'm just like, okay, out of all things, that's what you say. But he was just basically, he said more other things. I don't really remember because he was just going on and on about it. But he was just saying all the amenities that comes with being in heaven. And then my sister's sleeve had popped up, and you could see she didn't have the mark. And he was like, there's no hope for us. There's no hope for us. And he looked down and he seen her arm, and he was like, oh, well, I guess it's hope for you. And then he literally picked up her arm and showed everybody that she did not have the mark. So nobody really was paying attention to that part besides the person in front of us in the line. He turned around and he seen it. And so, the man that turned around and seen it, he, like, what you could tell, like, his face was so distraught because a lot of people who took on the mark did not know that it was a biblical prophecy fulfilled. He did not know that. So you could tell how sick on the stomach he felt knowing that he had basically ruined his salvation. So he was just like, okay, well, you better be real careful. You better not let no, and this is literally the face he was making. He was like, you better not let nobody see you with that. You better hope nobody finds out about that, because you could be in real trouble. Real trouble. So my sister, she was just like, scared, and I was scared. I could still feel the pit in my stomach. I was scared for her, and I was scared that they would discover the same thing for me. So the next thing I know, we're still standing in line. It was a long line. We're still standing in a line, and the guy who was sweeping the floor, he was still sweeping the floor, and he was explaining the reason why he took on the mark. He was like, well, I got to make money. I know it ain't much that I'm making, but I got to make something. I got to keep working, and you couldn't work either, obviously, if you didn't have that mark. So, the next thing I know, it was a security guard who came from the back. He had the mark in his forehead, I guess. He was real proud about it. And he was like, I need to speak to you. And so we all looked. It was me, my sister, my aunt, my mom, my cousin, and the guy who was in front of us. We all looked back. We knew exactly who he was pointing at, and we looked back at the guy who was sweeping. And he was like, me? And he was like, yeah, you. And so he took him to the back, and nobody heard it, but I heard it. Like, it's like God gave me, he wanted me to know every moving parts of this dream. So, I envisioned this, that he took him to the back, and he didn't even speak to him. And the security guard shot the man in the head for talking too much. So, after that, my dream flipped again. And now we're at like this big mall, and people are shopping around, and everybody was walking the same. Everybody was looking the same. At this point, people were zombies. And obviously me and my sister had to blend in, but at the same time, we were really fidgety. We were like, you know how you see kids running through the store, hiding and ducking, and like they're playing hide and go seek. That's how we were, but we were actually really doing it for our lives. And like I said, my mom, she didn't feel comfortable leaving us alone. So anytime she went to the mart, we had to go with her. Anytime she went to the store, the mall, we had to go with her. So we had went to the mall. And so we're walking around, and I see Donald Trump. So I know that's controversial, but I seen Donald Trump. And he was enforcing that at this point, if anybody who did not take the mark is found, they need to be killed. He was not having it. He was so not upset, but he was fed up. He was fed up with knowing that there were people running around or hiding around that did not have that mark. So he was ordering, it's like he was signing something. He was signing, like, I guess a bill or maybe a new law that if anybody who doesn't have a mark is found, is to be killed. That's what I seen. So I'm just like, okay, well, yeah. So this one girl, she had the mark, and she worked at, so, sometimes in a mall, you have hair salons, you have all these different things, nail salons and stuff. So this woman, she was just like, at this point, I don't know how, but me and my sister's faces were plastered everywhere as wanted. And that we didn't find out that we were wanted until we got into the store, into the mall. So I'm just like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? So we already had like disguises and stuff, but it was only a matter of time, because obviously you see two people running around together, you're going to assume that, okay. So we're walking around, and the lady, she was like, come here, the hairdresser. She was like, maybe y'all should dye your hair blonde, and they won't notice you. It'll give you a whole different look, because, obviously with blonde hair from black, you will look a little different. So I was like, okay. And right before we had started dyeing our hair, I woke up. Now, I know that this is kind of all over the place yet again, but mind you, this entire time of everybody, it seemed like everybody in the world at this point literally had took on the mark. And I'm not saying that Donald Trump will have anything to do with it. I just guess that Jesus was just showing me whoever is going to be in power, or it's going to be somebody in a power position that's going to enforce these things. Obviously, the Antichrist. I'm not saying that Donald Trump is the Antichrist. I'm not saying that whatever. But what I will say is that I did see Donald Trump signing something like, so I guess that was signifying that there will be obviously laws enforced that if you do not take on this mark, you will be killed. So I'm not saying it was Donald Trump. I'm not saying that it is Donald Trump, but in my dream, it was. So that's why I said I don't feel like, I'm not going to call this a prophetic dream, because obviously these are things that are mentioned in the Bible, but I'm not going to put anybody as labeled as this or that out there. That's not what I'm here to do. So I'm just simply sharing my dream that really shook me to the core. So it literally, after I woke up, I immediately told my sister about it. I was just like, look, I had a nightmare, and it was about the tribulation, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what it is, but I just remember my sister talking to my mom about how the rapture is going to happen. Then obviously next follows the tribulation. And she's just like, obviously as Christians, we're excited about it because we know we're getting ready to get up out of here. And so my mom, she was just like, yeah, well, I'm just not ready. I need more time to get right. And so obviously in my mind, I see so many videos, and I'm just thinking to myself, when, if not now, then when? Quoting The Chosen, Mary, and Jesus. If not now, then when? You don't know. Your next breath isn't promised. So that's kind of the message that I wanted to share to anybody who comes across this video, that if you feel like you're in a place of, oh, well, I don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, I don't know who he is, I feel like I need more time, things are moving too fast, do it now, because you do not know where your last moments are. And so after I had that dream, like I said, my sister, she was a little bit at ease to know that we were only there to observe, because like I said, everything that was happening around us, we were not phased enough to take on the mark. We weren't even that, we were scared, but we weren't scared because we knew that we had Jesus by our side. It's almost as if he was invisibly, obviously there, protecting us the entire time to make it through this dream, because I could have woke up at any moment, really. But like I said, it was a dream from God. So oh yeah, so after I had that dream, like I said, I told my sister, and I had been debating on telling my aunt and telling my cousin and telling my mom, because like I said, they did not make the rapture. They had to stay in the tribulation, and they took on the mark of the beast without thinking twice about it, basically. And so I was really like hesitant to tell my mom, because I know that she is trying to be a better person. But what she fails to realize is that you don't come to Jesus Christ, all polished and basically perfect. But you can't come to him saying, oh, I got my life together, now I can come and approach you. No, you come to him while you're broken, so that he can fix you. He's the only one that knows your true potential in life. Some people were given the gift of singing. Some people were given the gift of painting, but they may turn out to be a lawyer or an accountant. So it's just like, you don't know your course in life. Jesus will reveal it to you in time, but he is God is all knowing. So it's just like, you come to him broken, you come to him ready to change, but you do not come to him changed and already fixed up, because then you don't need, you come to him and you believe in the gospel. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verses 1-4. You believe in the gospel. You believe that Jesus Christ died for your sins, past, present, and future sins, that he rose on the third day, ascended into heaven, and that he is the only way to heaven. He is the only way to the Father. He is your salvation. And you know that you are a sinner. We were born into sin, and he came to wipe that away so that we may be found worthy to enter the kingdom of heaven. So I was very nervous to tell my mom, and last night I came clean to her about the dream. And when I tell you, I was just sitting there nervous. I'm just like, oh, please. I'm, the Lord was speaking to me. He was like, tell her. I didn't give you that dream, And then I've been getting signs too, seeing videos of don't just hold a prophetic word or a dream that you've gotten. It's not for you just to, keep it in a memory bank. Like, no, it's for you to share it with others, to warn others, because somebody may find this useful. So When I told her, I still remember now the fear in her eyes. Her eyes were bucked like a deer in headlights, for one. But for two, I have never seen her look that scared. And my mom, you know, she's a crier. She cries over things. She gets mad easily. Like, she shows a lot of emotion. But fear is one that I have never seen on her face like that. Like, I've known she's been scared before, but to see it on her face, she looked very, very stunned and shocked. And the next people I feel like I obviously will have to talk to is my cousin and my aunt, which is going to be a harder, you know, thing to do because they consider themselves Christians, and it's harder to talk to people who think that they already are signed, sealed, and delivered. You know, it's harder. So yeah, when I came clean to her, I felt good about it. You know, I felt relieved, and I know that warning wasn't for me. You know, it wasn't for me. There's nothing I can do to save my mom, my cousin, or my sister. I mean, my mom, my cousin, or my aunt. There's nothing they can do but believe in Jesus Christ. That's the only thing that they can do. So, and that's the same thing for everybody else out there. There's nothing you can do. You can't give to the homeless. You can't pray 1,000 times a day. You can't, you know, you have to believe in the gospel. You have to believe of the finished work of Jesus Christ. You have to. That's the only way to be saved. So, and obviously, you know, your whole life will change after that because the Holy Spirit will come in and make you a better person. You know, the things that you thought you couldn't get rid of yesterday becomes a distant memory tomorrow, really, you know. So, I think I said enough. I think I said everything I needed to say. But this is just, you know, I think Jesus really wanted me to see the severity of it, especially with family that unfortunately in these last days and hours, you don't know people's heart. You don't truly know where people's heart is. Yeah, they could tell you where their head is at. That anybody, you know, anybody is going to say things to make them sound better or make them sound righteous or like they're on the right path of life. But you truly don't know what their heart is saying. So, you know, obviously Jesus Christ will be the judge of that. But I know that I had to, you know, release that information to my mom, and now I'm releasing it to you guys to just give anybody out there encouragement that he is coming back. Okay, it's coming soon. And what I don't want is for you to be caught up in a situation where you're regretting everything that you did. You're regretting your entire life, because Jesus does not want anybody to suffer. Unfortunately, because it's prophesied in the Bible, it will happen to some. But I'm just hoping that, you know, it doesn't happen to you. So anybody who sees this video, please, please, please take heed to what I am saying. Like I said before, the people that I've mentioned in this dream, don't go back saying that, oh, you know, Brianna said that this person is going to be doing, no. I'm just saying that's what I seen in my dream. I'm thinking that those things are just showing me that there will be, obviously, it's just a metaphorical depiction of that there will be power over the area that we're in, and it will become law, you know. So that's what I'm saying. But I really hope that you guys turn to Jesus. If you haven't already, you need to accept him. Not because I say so, but because you should feel so, because he is the truth. He is the light. He is the only way. He is the way. So, yeah, thank you guys for listening. I know this is a pretty lengthy video, but it was a pretty lengthy, you know, dream as well. So thank you so much. And I thank my sister for letting me post on her channel and, you know, give you guys a warning and also words of encouragement. So hopefully I'll see you guys in the clouds. Bye.